Alrighty, gang. We are going into our very last session of the day. This is beautiful. I still see some eyes functional back there. This is great. It's a little shorter of a day, but hopefully you guys are getting a lot out of this. So for this last session, I've asked my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Cynthia Price from University of Connecticut, Emergency Medicine, to come in and give, bar none, the best talk I've ever heard on being a middle manager, but staying sane, quite honestly. And take it away, Cynthia.
Hello. I was trying not to get close to him because I didn't want feedback. I know that I always get put at the place where I am the last thing standing between you and freedom. So if you can just hang tight with me just a little bit, we hopefully will teach you a few things along the way, as well as get you out in time to go do dodgeball, go on a swamp tour, or do whatever y'all are supposed to do today. I know the residency fair is occurring. And as chiefs, you probably could have something to do with that. And so what we're going to quickly do is talk about some of the things that go along with your chiefdom. I am going to try to give you some pointers in how to stay well. It sucks to be chief and flame out, right? It sucks to be chief and then become so not enthralled with chiefdom that you don't feel qualified for the job anymore because you're having a few little issues taking care of yourself. My whole job is to just say, okay, let's think about a few things and how to stay well. And I'm hoping that you're going to talk to the people around you in your program so that you guys can make a plan. Because you got to have a plan. You just can't start chiefdom as a solo person. Is there anybody here who is the sole chief of their program? All by the, oh Lord, we got one post soul back there. Wow, stand up, stand up. Yes, yes. So I am going to be talking a lot about how you develop wellness. And for you, I don't want you back there talking to yourself. So you other chiefs back there say, we're going to make a plan. But you guys need to get her number. Because guess what? She going to need some friends. Just saying, she's going to need a few friends. So I don't have any disclosures. Today we're going to talk about wellness. And people think wellness is a little bit passé and it's gone. But this is about the art of staying well. People want to talk about resilience and no. Do you want to stay well? Do you not want to stay well? So we are going to talk about wellness. We're going to look at some barriers to wellness and balance that are really particular to you and the job that you have chosen to do. Did anybody get made chief that didn't really want to be chief? Stand up. No, I'm joking. Okay, go ahead. So we're also going to explore some stepping stones for integrating more wellness into yourselves and your residents. So why am I doing this talk? When you guys have the opportunity to talk about something, it should be something you're passionate about. William Osler says that. And if you guys are embarking on this leadership role, you got to figure out the things you're passionate about. Chiefdom is one of those things, right? If you don't want to be in the middle management position, if you don't want to be a leader, and if you don't want to set the tone, this is the wrong job for you, and I urge you to step out of this role before it starts. So I want you to be passionate about doing this job and doing it well, and we're going to get you some stuff to make it well, but first of all, you guys tell me what you think wellness means. What do you think wellness means? Loudly, so everybody can hear you.
For me, wellness means, having the opportunity to do things that I like, things that I care about, outside of work.
That doesn't sound a thing like chiefdom. Okay, what else? what else is, what do you think wellness is? You, right there.
It's just like a generalized sense of being happy with what I'm doing.
He wants to be happy with
Yeah.
what you're doing. What's it for you? Go ahead, I got a hand up. The people that sit in the front, they be putting y'all to shame.
I would say wellness is like a set of skills that you develop to be able to cope with everything that you're doing and do it well and in a balanced way.
All right, so I'm going to put up a definition, and I kind of want you guys to look at it and then tell me what you think wellness means. How do we make this applicable to you guys as chiefs? I'll get out of the way. Process, not a measurable, concrete, or static state of being. Continuously moving towards a greater awareness of yourself and the way in which your environment, your relationships, nutrition, fitness, stress, and other factors influence you. So does anybody want to add to their wellness definition? What do you guys think wellness is?
Sounds a lot like just mental health and being happy.
Sounds a lot like mental health and being happy. And whose responsibility is that? Your own, but also there's some semblance of you guys being responsible for that for your colleagues and the classes that come under you. So you got double duty. You're not just responsible for keeping you well, you're responsible for keeping the group well. And that is kind of a little bit of a hard job, particular because of what this year? I said, I heard it. What is COVID. Y'all want to know my residents? The third years, they crunchy. I'm ready for them to leave. They just go. Because everything that we would do to stay well in the time that they have been residents was stripped away from them. We live in Connecticut that had some of the most stringent COVID rules in the entire nation. There was no travel, no parties, no journal club, no wellness activities, no holidays, no conferences, no lunches. And you know, for a while, everybody loved us, and they brought us cupcakes and pizza, and then 5 months later, that all went to hell in a handbasket. And then I'm bringing Hot Pockets in and put them in the freezer and saying, here's some food for you, because that's the best we can do. Right? You guys notice a difference with your third years? Yeah. It's going to be a thing. This is a graph about the major concerns of residents during COVID. They sent out a survey to about 6,000 people, and y'all being residents, they got about 1,000 back. So this is based on 1,000 people. It sucks on the film. You can't really tell, so I'm just going to read it as the bars go down. So concerned about schedule changes a little bit, and the schedule did change, correct? COVID guidelines changes. Please get a vaccine, don't get a vaccine, blah, blah, blah. The impact on residency, the concerns concerns about the effect on patients, social interactions, financial instabilities. This long bar right here, PPE. Did y'all have struggles with PPE? Right? We shouldn't have, of anybody. You guys should have had the most PPE. This is dealing with mortality. This one right here, concerns about being a carrier of COVID. I just went to see my 78-year-old father in March, whom I had not seen for 22 months because I didn't want to kill him. He's a really nice little guy. And I was afraid to go home and infect my father with something that would take him to his grave. 22 months. And this is concern about our own health and safety. So as residents, you guys worked in the ICUs and for the vast majority of our emergency departments. Did anybody's emergency department convert to telehealth? Right? right? It just didn't happen. So while everybody else might have taken a break, there is something to be said about still having to put your clothes on every day and go to work. And we saw partly the result of that in this year's match, right? Don't nobody want to be us anymore. I want to be me. I want you guys to be me, somebody who's well and happy and really excited to still go to work after almost 20 years. But there's something to be said. So wellness may look like balance, but it is individualized. What all of you guys want is different. It's fluid. It's work and non-work responsibilities. It's productive. You have to define your priorities, which we are going to do here in just a few minutes. Personal and professional growth optimized, and it may be better defined by its absence, right? You know you're well because most of the times you don't think about being well. But when you start to notice, it's when things start sliding down the hill, right? When you're not well. So work-life balance, there's no such entity. I will tell you the scale tips back and forth, but they started talking about this in the 60s and 70s because mothers were starting to work. Once we get to the 80s, some structural changes took place. Men began being concerned about their own work balance. And in the 90s, it really solidified that work-life balance or imbalance or struggle was really something for everyone, whether you're man, woman, single, couples, parents, non-parents. It wasn't just about, oh, yes, well, the person who has no children has to work every Christmas, right? Those things are gone. And so generational studies began to show how employees were making choices about their jobs based on cultures and companies for their own work-life issues. So now what does that mean for you guys? What does it mean for you as chiefs? Thinking about the balance and that the things that you might think are fair or not fair, what does that mean for you as a chief? Who makes the schedules in your shop? Who makes the schedules? You guys make the schedule. How are you going to put those schedules together? Because it's nice to be fair, but also the reality of human life. Somebody might have 3 kids. Somebody might have 1 car. Somebody might live 2 hours away and commute back and forth because they don't have a choice. How do you take those things into consideration? How are you going to keep your schedules fair?
So I made our June schedule, and so I was very transparent about kind of what the priorities for that month were. So we built in like an intern retreat and then scheduling our seniors off for graduation, and then kind of told people, hey, this is how I have to prioritize things this month.
Oh, I heard the P word. How do you make priority? Because I do think this is part of the things that make you question your balance. When I look at the schedules that I have to look like, the chiefs work at the schedule, and then I have to sit down and look at it for 3 hours and go over every day, every shift, every resident. Every day, every shift, every resident. Every day, every shift, every resident. And I am always trying to think about the balance, right? You can't work 8 days in a row. You can't work a string of 5 overnights and then flip up to a day the next day. Right? We have rules that we have to look at, but I think this means very important stuff when we're looking at the balance of how to keep our residents well, scheduling, supporting, and questioning. I have a lot of questions. I have questions now. You guys, anybody else still have residents that are getting COVID? What y'all doing with them residents? I think people just lying now, too. I'm just lying. You got COVID for the 4th time and you need another 5 days off. Like, yeah. And I'm not going to call them out, but part of me in my heart thinks we are used to the COVID break now, right? Like, And we used to go to work. You had a little muscle ache, you had a little fever, you had the sniffles, you just worked. And now, Dr. Price, I can't come to work because my toe hurts and I might have COVID. It's going to take me a day to get a test. Our whole lives have shifted. And that's going to come back to y'all because people don't want to work anymore. Wait, I saw it. Look at all of the up. Yes, does anybody agree with me? There has been a shift in the atmosphere, right? So how do we put this back together so that it does not make you incredibly not well? Because you want to be supporting, but you also want to be questioning. So work-life balance for chiefs, it doesn't mean that there's equality for everyone. It does mean that there's some dynamic changes, but you are going to need to figure this out as a group. So, how many of you guys already have a plan for how frequently you meet as a chief resident group? What is it? Every month. Doesn't sound very often to me. Go ahead. What about you? Every week. You have a meeting. What about you? Same program? Different programs, but you guys are meeting. Who else? Who else is there? What are you guys? Weekly after conference. Oh, Lord, they live together. See, they have some wellness and balance issues that we're going to have a whole bunch of suggestions for you, like no shop talk in the bedroom, paint the yellow line on the floor, set the timer for how much work y'all going to have. I might need to do a personal consultation with y'all later. But there's some things to be said about how are you going to build your support network, right? I think once a month is not enough, and I think every day might be too much, but there has to be some sort of check-in. There has to be some sort of, our group is going to get together at 7 o'clock every other Friday, every Wednesday before conference. You have to figure that out now. Who does not have a plan? What new group of chiefs do not have a plan? Why don't you have a plan? Yeah, so it's not malicious, but they just haven't got to it yet. They just haven't gotten to it yet. But how are you going to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses so that you can support each other in your pursuit of balance if I don't know what your strengths and weaknesses are? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Do I need to say it again? You guys have to spend time with each other so that you know, we do this thing with the interns. What do you look like when you're starting to get fatigued? I want you to tell me why you are not fatigued so that I can recognize the signs. How are you going to take care of each other if you're not meeting? You have to, I would say at the minimum every other week, and you have to figure out what the goals are for that. But you guys should be checking in with each other. Who gonna help my single friend over there, right? She gonna need some friends to check in with because chiefdom is hard. Chiefdom is hard. You have friends that are not chiefs that maybe used to be in your support system, and now it's a little awkward, right? Because what do you have? What do you have that makes it different? You have power because you do what? You make the schedule. Yes, A plus B equals 17. You guys have power. Right? So it is a little awkward because you don't just go through with your besties. And before, when maybe there was a meeting attending, you guys could just sit down and talk about it after the shift. And now, as a chief, you set the tone. And so you got to figure out how to be a problem solver. You just can't be the complainer all the time. It's a lot. So when are you supposed to be able to complain? so you can get that off your chest and then sleep clear and free. This is why you guys have to be melded together. So you will have to figure this out as a group daily, right? You guys are on the same group me, or on the same Tiger text, or on the same regular text. You will have to figure this out so you know how to support each other. Because there should be somebody who's up and somebody who's down at all times. And not down as in sad, but if you're on a string of overnights and there's 4 chiefs, you're not the one I'm going to call, right? You got 3 friends. But if you guys aren't communicating, I, as program leadership, am not quite sure who to reach out to. So that's going to be you. So I used to send a text, and I get the text back, hey, Dr. Price, stop texting that one. They're taking a break. They're having a weekend with their wife. Us 3 are covering this. And if it's a schedule issue, it's this person. That's how I need you guys to be melded together so that you can work on your balance. So they talk to physicians and they ask about their priorities for 3 years, which is the same length of your residency. And you guys as chiefs, any 4-year chiefs here? 4-year program chiefs? Yeah, what program are you guys from? Michigan. So do you do chiefdom year in your 3rd year or 4th year? 4th year, all of you. Same here behind you. Where are you guys? Nice. And where's that other table? Over here? Yeah, where are you guys? LA County. They make y'all do 4 years at LA County. All right. So if we are looking at the highest priorities over the next 3 to 4 years, on the average, 2 of the 10 were work-related. That means 8 of the 10 life goals had nothing to do with work. They revolved around a whole bunch of stuff. Take 3 minutes. Put your head down, pray to yourself, and then let your colleagues know what your top 3 priorities are. What are they? Because your chiefs need to know what you're trying to accomplish, right? They're still trying to figure that out. Turn around, talk to each other. Somebody talk to my friend in the back, the single one. Y'all talk to her, let her know her priorities. These Okay, let me hear some of these goals. Who's got goals they want to share? Let me put my walking shoes on. What goals do you guys have? Did you meet her? You work together? You know each other's goals now? All right, she's going to share some goals. What are Donna's goals?
Donna wants wants to come out of the year not hating this job. She wants to have our class have a strong presence in our emergency room. And then I forgot your 3rd one.
Me too. Two's good.
Two's good. She had a 3rd one that I don't
2
remember.
is good. And do you know hers?
She wants to establish like a certain amount of fairness so that people don't feel like they're getting shafted throughout the year with the schedule. And along the same lines, like wants our class to be successful in terms of getting where they want to go after residency.
Fabulous. Fabulous. What are some goals you came up with? Did you know hers?
Family, fitness, and what else did we say? Oh, fellowship.
Family, fitness, and fellowship sound like a dating app, but okay. All right.
All three of us are in different relationship like styles, and so we wanted to prioritize that for this next year. And then we also just talked about like us three chief wellness, like what can we do together for our own wellness, like separate from the residency too. So like we were talking about cooking together,
Cooking together.
doing a meal.
Cooking together and doing a meal and bonding. This table might get an A+ for the day. I'm just saying. All right, who else has some priorities?
Well, Taylor is interested in starting a business, so he was thinking about that, and then also finding a man for himself. So we're working on that.
This is the reality of where you guys are. These are the most and bestest years of your life. For women, they are great childbearing age. If you are separate, it's nice to find somebody. And if you're with somebody, it's nice to stay with that person. I don't take that lightly at all. So that's what I'm talking about, Taylor. Make it happen. All right, who else has some goals?
They both want to get jobs. He wants to go hunting, and she wants to have a baby.
I like it. One person wants to go hunting, and one person wants to have a baby. One of my chiefs last year got pregnant, had a baby, did 4 research projects, and moved away and was absolutely successful. What you should not do is think that chiefdom should preclude the priorities that you have for your life. So I love it that you are trying to connect. You are trying to make a future. You are trying to get together with your significant others, and you're trying to extend your family. Why not? Why not do that? What better time? Because here in this room, the people that are going to help you achieve those things are sitting next to you. Agreed? Agreed? Right. So this is when I talk about how important it is for you to connect with each other so you know the goals. It makes it so much better when you need to say, I need to step out because I need to work on these 3 priorities. So the months that you are doing the schedule, I'm going to step out and try to make something happen for my family. You're doing the schedule, you are running curriculum, and you are stepping out for your family, right? Like, that's how chiefdom works. You are no longer an entity unto yourself. Those top goals have to be important. So if they're about growing as a person, or somebody wants to start a business, this is what residency is for. But you have to have the support, because otherwise, chiefdom's going to suck up all your time if we let it. You got to put some bumpers around. When you guys do great at learning from each other and putting those things in place, you do better at work. It just makes sense. You guys start figuring out over here some things about each other. What's her goals? What's her goals?
We both had the same goal, which was prioritizing sleep.
Prioritizing sleep. Okay. I'm just trying to remember that whole you set the tone for the residency kind of thing. You just make sure. However, I love it that you are supporting each other in that goal. I love it. It totally makes sense. And so I think if you have goals, you put those goals together, and then you make things happen. It's a balancing act. It totally is. Family, self, career, you find yourself somewhere in the purple thingy. But at any time, 2 weeks after you have a baby, you're not thinking about chiefdom. You're trying to get back up and walk in and getting the kid, used to a schedule, getting your significant other, if you have one, and if you don't, what are you doing for childcare? So sometimes one of those weighs more heavily. Does that make sense how we talk about this dynamic? Sometimes 3 months before the ITE happens. I think about us and being chiefs. I wish the wall of chiefdom kept bad things from happening, but you got to make a plan. So what are the significant issues that make wellness difficult for you? We already talked about one. You can't have your besties anymore. Be your besties because of the power differential. What else are specific to chiefs? Who else? I haven't been to bother y'all over here. She said, oh, Lord, I see her coming. What else makes wellness difficult for chiefs?
Basically, scheduling.
Scheduling. The scheduling is all-consuming. Scheduling is all-consuming.
You're kind of always on call for your program. You have to always be available if something comes up.
Always be available. I would hope if there's 2 or 3 or 4 of you that you have a little bit of a schedule, but 1,000% yes. Anybody know? Oh, go ahead.
So I think kind of with that scheduling, you get an influx of communication on it's like so many different venues. So like people text you, they email you, they greet me, they like talk to you at work, and like up until a month ago, I didn't even have my work email on my phone because that separation is very important to me. But like that's not achievable as a chief right now, right?
She's trying to set some boundaries, but she lost the battle already with email. No, it's true, right? So where do you put things away? Yes, my sweet. Start really loud, and I'm coming.
Holding ourselves accountable into a higher standard with more responsibilities. Say it again.
Holding ourselves accountable into higher standards, doing what we expect out of our other co-residents, while also maintaining, responsibilities.
Is that easy? It's not easy. And you will be disappointed in your fellow co-residents somewhere along the way. I have bean counters. People that go and they count everybody else's shifts, the Sundays, and you think all these nice, lovely thoughts, and then you get a note from the bean counter, how come I had to work 4 Saturday nights and somebody else only had to work 2, right? And they don't know, right? For everything else, it's different.
Maybe this fits under the realm of privacy, but understanding that you'll have much more information about individuals and about the program. You have to learn how to balance those things and not disclose a lot of those things that you hear about.
Yes, 1,000%, absolutely.
Similar to what I was talking about with another resident earlier, is that as chiefs, people kind of look at you as maybe, you were probably strong clinically and then had other skills, and they might hold you to a different standard as 3rd years or 4th years, but you're also still a learner as a resident, and you're not perfect, and feeling like you might have to feel that way because there's a lot of eyes on you, but you still are completing residency just like everyone else.
Yeah, talk about imposter syndrome. How many of you became chief before the ITE scores came out? Right? We laugh a little bit, but it's a thing. Because all of a sudden you got this big job, and then you're like, eat. I went down as opposed to up for the last year. Who else?
What was the question? Oh, okay. Yeah, we were just talking about like interpersonal dynamics and how we're going to balance friendship with delivering the sort of structure to how we're going to hold everyone accountable to the same standard.
Absolutely. Wait, let me go to my couple that's sleeping together over here. What issues y'all got? Wait, were y'all sleeping together before you came chief? No, don't answer that. Don't answer that. What issues are you going to have that are specific to chiefdom?
Just boundaries in general. It's hard not to talk about being chiefs all the time. Literally while you're in bed.
Boundaries. It's important. It's important. Does anybody here know what the black tax is? What is the black tax? Come on, real loud.
So this was told to me by one of our attendings, who basically, by nature of her being a colored black woman, she feels the need to, she has this tax that she has to support every person of color, make sure everyone is included, make sure that she goes above and beyond the extra mile to support those people of color.
Yes, so now you know what the chief tax is, right? You feel a certain responsibility to connect your residents, to represent your program, to go above and beyond and just a little bit more in the things. In the things. True enough, what else is there? There's competing demands. We talked about boundaries over here, personal needs, need to get to the gym, research. These are all the things that can slide so easily that you were very gung-ho second year because that's how you became chief. And now all of a sudden, you don't really have time for all of those things. Teaching, delivering, committees, leadership, and other program demands. There's a lot of stuff going on. A rabbi, a priest, and a Baptist minister out in the boat fishing. The priest went to get some coffee, and he was like, I'm going to get out the boat and go get some coffee. And so the priest gets out the coffee. He walks upon the water, goes to get the coffee, and then he goes back to the boat. And then the rabbi was like, it is a beautiful sunny day. Let me go get some bagels to go with this coffee. So he gets out of the boat. He walks across the water. He goes to the bagel stand, and then he gets out. And now their lovely friend, the little minister that they got, he's like, I've known these brothers for a long time. We have been together as a group. I'm so excited. And so he's like, I think we need some jam and sour cream for these bagels. And he gets out of the boat, and he clashes in the water. And he's like, I have faith. Why did I fall in the water? And the rabbi and the priest were like, yes, you have faith, but you don't know where the rocks are. And so what you are going to learn is where are the rocks to help you get, see, y'all didn't know where that one was going, did you? Everybody was quiet, you're like, uh-oh, who's talking about religion in here? Ooh, okay, yes, this is the rock. So I'm going to teach you guys a little of the stepping stones that you've got to think about. So chiefdom, part of your tax, right? Molding your environment. Is your program toxic? How do you fix it? Are you united in your leadership? I heard Dr. Stoll talk about this. This is another reason for my front table over here. You have to know each other so you can be united in the thoughts and plans that you guys come up with. If the residents sense a division in your leadership as chiefs, it will cause you so much more drama than it would have if you guys presented a united front. You have to stick together because then it becomes a mommy, daddy, auntie. Let me ask mommy, mommy says no. Let me ask daddy, daddy says no. Let me ask auntie, because auntie always says yes, right? I do think that as you are building this support structure, you guys are spending time with each other, that once a week, every other week. As you are getting to know each other, you're finding out how to support each other. Take control. Have a plan for emergencies. One of my chief residents, wife was very pregnant. They went in for false labor on Friday. They sent them home. They went back on Monday, and the baby was deceased. Chief resident stuff. Chief resident stuff, right? One of our chiefs had their significant other drop dead, come to our ED, and come. You guys have to have a plan so that you know how to wrap your arms around each other. Because not only for you, but for the residents in your program, they need to know that you're going to close ranks around them when the inevitable happens. It's not going to happen every year. It's not going to happen all the time. But if something happens, they need to be able to go to you collectively and feel the embrace of how you guys are taking care of each other, because that in turn will be how you take care of your programs. Earn respect. Yes, my couple. Set boundaries. Don't take it personally. All the stuff that is going on there, boy, one of my residents hates me. She hates me right now. Because guess who didn't come to conference? All those times. And now she in trouble because she didn't go to conference and maybe have to do an extra week or two of residency. Is that my fault? No. It is not my fault at all. I could feel the hate. I could just feel it. I walked past the room and I could feel the jet breeze just go. I could feel the hate. She is frustrated. She's so angry. Why is the program doing this to her? It has nothing to do with me. Do I look pressed? She's mad at herself. I am clearly aware that I did nothing to do to stop that girl from coming to conference all last year. That was not my fault, right? This is huge. Do not take it personally. And as you guys are united, you'll be able to text each other, that girl, she glared at me and blah, 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 blah. That's something that you will be able to share as leadership. Know that it has nothing to do with you. There have to be enforcers of the rules, and that starts with you as chief resident. Has to be. Okay, I'm looking at my time. 4 more minutes. 3, 4. Okay, good. So don't take it personally. It's just not. For yourselves, do not lose yourself in the process. Chiefdom is fun, and it's a lot of responsibility, but you also have a future the following year. Right now, find a mentor with experience of what you want to do, right? Hone your organizational skills, simplify your daily life and routines, and use all the resources. Don't forget who you are in the middle of being chief. There's a guy that I know that talks about stuff, and he says, don't let the urgent crowd out the important. And if the important is you getting a job, you getting a fellowship, you're doing well on the ITE, every day there will be a fire that will take 45 minutes of your time if you let it. Do not let the urgent crowd out the important. And so make sure you are taking care of you and that your colleagues know that you are taking care of you. Make your wellness a priority. Keep fit, exercise, sleep. You guys got it right over here. Coordinate your career and family. Set some boundaries. Make money work for you. Create a little bit of an issue or a transition for you to relax. It is sometimes okay for you to leave work at work. I leave my charts at work. My Tiger Text is on for my residents 24/7. That's just the way things are. And I have 5 chiefs. If any one of them comes, all that stuff is hooked up to the Bluetooth. It overrides everything. So it gets me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. There is a way to leave work at work, but the chiefdom stuff has to come with you. If you guys have one shared chief email, decide who's responsible for opening those emails at all times. And if you're going to use some sort of a system, either if you work at different institutions, you happen to be hospital A and you're hospital B, and if you're rotating here, I'm calling you. If I'm rotating here, I call you. Figure out what the plan is. All 4 of you don't need to be on at all times, or all 3 of you, or all 2 of you. My girl in the back, what's the plan for your life? Because you by yourself, and I don't really know how that's going to work. Will your program leadership help you cover some of the 24/7 so that you don't have to pick up the phone all day? You need to call me afterwards so we can make a plan for you. Honestly, it's not sustainable. It's not. When I reach out to the other APDs or tell the PD, hey, I'm going out for a week. I need to go on a trip. It's not sustainable. So talk to each other and make a plan. Talk to each other and make a plan. You need to talk to your program leadership. Y'all need to make a plan. It doesn't work to fail at this. You guys are people first. Does that make sense? You are people first. Chiefdom is fun, but you have to have this balance. Set limits around your work. If you guys, who's got kids at home? Just a few of you. Your kids don't understand that mommy is working at home. When you're home, you need to be home. So maybe for those of you guys that have kids, if you have to stay in the resident lounge or your office an extra 30 minutes to get things done, I would do that because your kids don't understand working from home. I think it's gotten better since COVID. If you have older kids, toddlers, if the parent is home, the parent is home. So just think about creative ways on how to make that happen for you before you guys get home. Yes, so your rituals, setting limits, play dates. If you're too busy, manage your time. Use humor. We like to laugh a lot. It's great. Look beyond yourself. Read for pleasure. Keep learning. It's part of it. Let go. Ooh, again, learn to sleep well. Get some hobbies. Ask for help. It is not a sign of weakness. It is a badge of maturity. How many of you guys know residents who've had to access mental health services while they were in the program? And how many of you guys know how to be the one to help somebody access help for somebody in the program? Some hands up. These are the things that you are responsible for. So the best thing about having 3 or 4 of you is somebody is checking in with you once a week, once every 2 weeks. Hey, how's it going? Has it been okay? I know you're doing the schedule. You making it all right? Did somebody glare at you? Because I'll punch them in the neck. Like, you know, those things. That, right? Like, and you know I'm just checking in with you to make sure things are going okay. For your residents, how do you keep those loners from falling through the cracks, right? Or those that don't do all the same activities, right? There's just things out there. So if you are needing help for yourself, you need to know where to go. But it also is your eyeballs, keeping eyes on your fellow residents for you to be able to help them. It is in this world where we are making smaller now, you know, for this resident that knew what the black tax was, how do you support her? Where's the help out there? How are you bringing understanding into your residency programs for all of the different issues that are out there? We have residents at extremes of age. We have residents that are parents that don't want to be parents. We have residents that want to be parents, they're not parents, all of the things. And you guys take turns becoming the listening ear. It gets a little heavy. So make sure you are keeping yourself up while you are figuring out the best way to be a resource for your residents. Most of you, I'm hoping, work with very supportive program leadership. If anything gets to be too much, or somebody shares something with you that's a safety concern, whether it's one of your fellow chiefs or your residents, you can't keep that to yourself. You guys will learn a lot of things, right? When we talk about who failed the ITE, who didn't go to conference and so they can't go to senior skip day. Everybody's going to soon know it, but for right now, it's a secret. It's just the chiefs know, right? Like, you guys will get to know a lot of things. That's why it's important that you're connecting, because you can share some of that stuff. And there's even stuff that I share with one chief. I got to give this to you. Can you help me change the schedule? But this needs to stay between us. So learning how to just make sure that you have a way to decompress when I tell you something that could be really sad, you're going to have to lean on your support. All right, let's see. No, we're not doing any of this stuff. Tips. This is the last part. It's time to go because it's almost time for the residency fair. Create some time. Find a hobby. You guys talk to the chiefs who have gone on before you. or some other chief residents in other programs. Emergency medicine's not the only thing out there. Talk to the IM chiefs or the surgery chiefs. Make some friends in chiefdom world. Talk to them. They have lots of great ideas. Don't wait for vacation to lay your burdens down. Lay your burden down once a week. Lay your burden down in a rotating schedule. Figure out how to make that happen. Remind your friends and family that you are not superhuman. Ask for help when you need it. If you are attached to another person, your relationship has to be a priority. Do I need to say that again? If you are attached to another person, you do not want your chiefdom to be the cause of a relationship failure. They have to be a priority. This upcoming year, I got 2 chiefs that are married and 2 chiefs are not. They are going to have to work that balance. But for sure, the ones that are married are going to have to pay attention to their significant others. And those that are not, but are seeking, like my friend Taylor in the back, we just going to make it. I'm going to find you somebody, Taylor. I got all sorts of stuff going on. Be creative. Allow yourself a few luxuries. You deserve to feel good. This is awesome. Chiefdom is so fun. Develop a concrete system for checking in. Make sure you step back and take care of your own health. Trust your instincts. Wellness as a chief is a skill set and a mindset. It's a very satisfying year in leadership, and you guys that might want to go on to do academic medicine or fellowships, chiefdom is going to take you a long way. But you have to have the self-responsibility to make this work for you. You have to keep the balance up. You're not alone. Work together with all of these people that are sitting next to you, as well as program leadership, to have an amazing experience. The time is out there, and I am so happy that y'all hung in there for just this last little bit. Thank you. Have a great year. Make sure you get on to all of the resources that Dr. Stoll has told you about, and he might have a few more words for you right here at the end.
Thank you, Dr. Price. Well, that does conclude our day, guys. Thank you for hanging out. I had an awesome day. I don't know if you guys did, but I will find out, because what I ask is that all of you open the app and evaluate the session at some point over the course of the day. We really appreciate this feedback. We have consistently we strive to make Chief Forum better every year, and always appreciate your insights. Gang, you have one of the toughest jobs in the world, unquestionably. EM is already the toughest specialty. Being a chief of an emergency department is unreal. But with great challenge creates great opportunity. You will be better leaders as a result of this year. There will be dark times, but there will be lots of light ones. And I wish you, and I know everyone of the faculty at Chief Forum, wish you all the best. You hopefully will have our contact information. If we can ever be of support to you, I can speak for every one of them that will say we will always be happy to talk to a chief from another program, as well as our own, to support you all. So please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out, and best of luck.